Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is James Saki. I am a fractional chief marketing officer, and I am joined today by Joe Nyahay. He is the founder and CEO of LFG Business Group. Joe, thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about LFG. I know it's a marketing agency here in Dallas, but give us a little bit of color on that, and tell us what you do.
Sure. Well, James, first, thanks so much for having me on. If there's anyone out there that makes me step up my blazer game and my pocket square and lapel game, it's you. So hats off to you as a big thanks. But I appreciate being on here. I feel truly blessed to chat about my business and to talk a little bit more about the industry with you. So LFG Business Group, LFG, I think a lot of us know what that means. Let's freaking go. But as a whole, my goal and background with marketing is to understand what makes people convert, where leads come in, how they see awareness, how they remember a brand, how they recognize a brand, how they come through, are nurtured, shown value over and over again, and what that emotional feeling is like from when they come into the funnel, top end of the funnel, if you will, converting them to a client, and then continuing to show them more and more through the aspect of true branding, which is often not totally received well in or understood well in the entire industry, any industry really. So, kind of breaking down all those components, if you will, kind of working as a fractional CMO upfront, but I have a back end agency that does all the automations, the workflows, the funnels, the copy, the storytelling, uh, ultimately understanding their company as much as they understand their company.
I like it. I like it. Thank you for that. Very good. So, and we were talking a little while ago. I understand you've worked with startups, you've worked all the way to with companies that are doing multi-millions of dollars. I'm curious, do you work exclusively with companies here in Dallas, or are they outside of the city, outside of the state, or anything like that?
My clients are all over the country for sure. Now, going through networking events like I've gone with you, of course, hey, the power of shaking a hand and showing that personality and true value of who we are as individuals also helps. So I've gotten a number of clients here in Dallas, but they kind of range throughout the country as well too. If you're online and you have Wi-Fi and you're at a laptop, we can connect.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's get to it here. I've got some questions I want to go through with you and kind of get your take on them.
Yeah.
Um, in your role, what has been your greatest success when it comes to marketing a brand for your clients?
I think the greatest success that I've brought and do my best to bring with all clients is telling the story of why they do what they do. We're in a phase now where so many people out there who don't know who you are. There's so many options, right? And through AI and Google and you name it, how many ads are popping up through all of our agencies. So when when I come in and kind of say, okay, what is the key values behind your business? Um, how can we share that with others? And when I take the time to meet with them one on one, it's me, it's not anyone else that comes meets with them, really dive deep into the problem, the solution, the value, why their business got started, the meaning behind it. Is it a family owned business? Do they donate to a charity? It could be a number of different things, but that storytelling aspect has been never more important now than ever. So when it comes to the success of it, it's amazing to see how conversions change and increase when the overthought of marketing from the business owner is, "Oh, I need to have this strategy, do this, and this." If you kind of remove that and say, hey, just tell the story of you. Talk about why your business grows. Talk about these few key aspects right here. And it's amazing to see how companies can 2, 5, 20x the leads that come through up to the sales process and conversions.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I can definitely attest to that. I mean, people, especially these days, they really connect well with stories, and storytelling is definitely an underrated skill. I would absolutely support that. So, talk to us a little bit about what has been a struggle, or where has it been a struggle in the marketing game?
I think some of the biggest struggle is with business owners. There's a lot out there. And to be honest, you know, just like us, right? We've got our background, we've gone through struggles, we've gotten to a certain height and say, "Yeah, I've I'm running the show. This feels so good. And when you get to that seven-figure mark in revenue and continue to grow, many times, oh geez, what gets in the way? Ego, yourself, it could go on and on and on. So the term marketing, right? How many business owners truly know what marketing is, the different buckets of marketing, and are willing to understand what's necessary for their business to grow with proper marketing? They look at it as one single bucket, and that's not at all what it is. There are so many different realms behind it. So I think the big struggle is working with business owners up front and having them understand, comprehend, what is marketing? What can it do? What doesn't it do? Let's put those two separate. And with the change and addition and modification, et cetera, with that paired with good sales, good operations, et cetera, what the results could turn out to be. So it's really explaining and educating on how marketing could help them.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that as a marketer myself. I mean, uh, sharing emails with a potential client recently about some of that stuff. They're having trouble kind of grasping what marketing is, what it does, and what it doesn't do. And me, as the consultant here, I have to make it crystal clear to them what it does not do, as well as what it does. Like you said, I'm glad you pointed that out. I think as marketers, we all encounter that struggle for sure, and I think the business owner also does too. I mean, they know they need marketing, but they don't know what it is. The wizardry doesn't quite make sense, and you
Couldn't
can't,
agree more.
yeah, so you can't really. It's hard to quantify it a lot of times. So I definitely feel that for sure. So from a marketing perspective, how are you approaching this year, both for yourself, your brand, and your clients? I mean, I know it's very different, but let's start maybe with your brand. How are you approaching it from a marketing aspect?
Sure. I would say far different than the year prior. And that being with automations and cold outreach. I mean, AI, right? Everyone's talking about it. It's implemented in the top big Fortune companies right now. So how has that changed? Well, outreach, cold outreach has been a unique custom process in the past. Now there are hundreds of SaaS tools out there that integrate with you so you can blast out tons of emails. Was great until it got oversaturated. So, all right, how can we as marketers continue to connect with more people to show our value because the saturated area of just getting blasted with hundreds of emails? How many messages on LinkedIn have we gotten saying, uh, "Hey Joe, your profile looks real interesting. Would love to connect and learn more." Yeah, everyone's first line says that, right? uh, so it challenges us as marketers to say, okay, there's that next phase that has been learned throughout the industry. People are using that. It works for a little bit, but now we need to think another step past that to connect with our audience, to show them our value, and to ultimately, bring leads in for us. So it's gone full circle in my mind of the power of the handshake, the power of in-person communication, um, where now we're kind of looking at it as I'm tired of getting these emails and all these DMs, and I kind of just shut it off. I mute it, and if you go in person, it's that much more valuable of like, wow, this person, like, they took the time out of their day to come out and meet with me. They asked me intriguing questions about my business. They listened. They have proper empathy. They care, mannerisms, all the above. And I want to work with them. I don't even know what their business, sometimes I don't even know exactly what they do. For example, if they're talking to me, they're like, I just like Joe or I like James. And, just like you and I met together and how we're having this conversation. I enjoyed our conversation. And the power of that is coming again, coming full circle as is overriding the I'm getting to know you through text. And that has been my approach this year. It's how I'm helping my clients approach, through different methods. But ultimately, that navigation and that strategy mindset is it has been challenging, but to override that just only challenges us as marketers to take it to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And I kind of heard there at the end how you take a similar approach with your clients as well, and trying to get them a little bit more of the experiential side of things. You know, like you said, the power of the handshake and getting a little more personable with their brands. So definitely a better strategy than just simply relying on the digital side, I think, too. Um, so I think this will kind of lead into that next question I've got of what do you see as far as trends? What do you see as a trending challenge or problem?
I think that segues into AI. There are loads of software out there that people are using and are either using it incorrectly and then putting a bad notion or thought when a certain email comes in at blast, etc., or they haven't taken full advantage of the actual capabilities of it. You know, how many times have I heard I just plug it in Chat GPT. Okay, well, it's under Open AI, and there are hundreds of softwares that properly prompt the knowledge out there to create a good script or any level of copy. Not perfect, but decent, or just chat tools to communicate with people on they have questions about this, that, or whatever it may be. Um, Not using it properly, understanding its capabilities. Again, this kind of goes back to the first thing of what is marketing and what isn't marketing, and how can we show that value of what AI can do to businesses so that way they're I heard this phrase last week, above the weeds. They're not in the weeds, you know, drowning it. They're above the weeds. And they have a team that's, I mean, every company has weeds, right? To work through it. So to move through and kind of help in that workflow automation process to save them time, energy, money, kind of all the above.
Yeah, that reminds me. I was talking with a few business owners, I think at the same event you and I met at, and we were talking about that particular problem about how there's too much AI, and you know, it's new, so not everyone has exactly mastered it. So we can tell, like human beings can tell when it's AI most of the time, right? And so I had made the remark something along the lines of, AI needs to be used less on the interaction side of things, like business to client or business to customer. It needs to be used more on the internal side, where your
Oh yeah.
processes instead of leaving it to the AI to interact with your customers. If anything, your AI should free you up to interact with your customers and keep that personal touch, like you mentioned earlier. I think that's a better approach with AI, at least for now, where it's at. What do you think, or what are you seeing as maybe trending solutions, not necessarily to that problem of AI, but just solutions you're seeing coming out in the business world or in the marketing space? Any kind of solutions that you're seeing that are like it's becoming a thing to do this?
Sure. I think Loom videos have become real popular now. And it takes extra time to do so. But if you compare what let's do 3 layers, if you will. First layer being manually sending out emails to leads saying, "Hey, I have interest in sharing what I have for value for you. I can help you do ABC so you can achieve XYZ," right? Um, that was the old way, just manually one by one by one. AI came along and with the power of a number of automation tools was able to get a little bit of their information, craft up a message or two, and just start firing message away. It kind of went to sending, GIF or GIF, I'm not sure, and maybe pushed on however people pronounce it, right? Images of someone waving, whatever it may be, which is starting to help the personalization factor, but people are still catching on. And I think having those videos of, let's say, someone comes to your site, a VSL video that's specific in a funnel to the event that someone was at. So, for example, let's say you have a QR code and you're at an event, speaking at an event about commercial real estate, hypothetically, right? And you say, "Hey, scan my QR code to learn a little bit more." You go to that page, and instead of it just having default copy of "I help this, do this, yada yada," it is a video saying, "Hi, I really enjoyed meeting you or seeing you at this event. I thought this was fantastic, and I hope you got great value out of these slides. If you'd like to download the presentation, it's right here, like that specific event on this date. Here's a few pictures of me shaking some hands with some people. Maybe one of these was you. But if you'd like to continue our or learn more about this, hop on a sales call, book whatever it may be, whatever that call to action is. That level of personalization of it's a breath of fresh air when we're flooded with default copy that's like clearly someone put this in auto mode,
Yeah.
and although it's still auto, um, it feels better. It feels like, okay, this isn't as default as all the other stuff that's out there. And it helps break down that no like trust wall ultimately.
Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting stuff. I like that. And I think that goes back to, one of the principles of marketing is, great marketing. It shouldn't feel like marketing, you know. Um, that's interesting stuff for sure. So let's switch gears a little bit here.
Yeah.
So I want to ask about competition, right? And how specifically do you compete in a saturated, hyper competitive market? For example, with your clients, let's say, I mean, I know it depends on the client, but then you might be able to reference your own business as well in kind of how you answer this. But how do you compete when, I mean, in the US especially, it's a very saturated market in every market, so what do you do? How do you stand out? How do you compete in these hyper competitive markets?
Sure. I think again, going back to the basics, right? The personalization behind it, but keeping me involved in the onboarding, excuse me, process and connecting with that client a little more than they would on other agencies that are reaching out. Now, I understand that, hey, it's easy to hop on a call, have a salesperson on your team, on the agency side, for example, and talk them through benefits, features, you name it. If you work with us, we'll help you increase all this data, et cetera. It sounds intriguing, but on their end, what is everyone's favorite topic? Themselves.
Yeah.
It's their favorite topic. So I kind of pivot myself in a way of both ears are wide open. I want to listen. I want to ask questions. I want to understand your business to a level that like we're on the same level of understanding how your business has grown, the struggles, the stress, the whole 9 yards. And I'll take the time to do that. I think that's really important as opposed to how many lead generation agencies out there. Again, I'm not a lead generation agency, but for example, they go, "Oh, great, you're looking to connect with this many people. We'll connect you with thousands of people, and you'll fill your calendar with all these calls, yada yada." Well, don't you want to know about me? Don't you want to hear a little bit more about my business?
Yeah.
To me, it's an instant. I don't have any interest in talking anymore. Versus, when I connect with people, they kind of. I've heard many times them say, no one's asked me these depth of questions about my business. You're truly asking about the problems that we're solving for people, the solutions that we've created, the background of how it got started, where we're looking to take the business. What are the core features and benefits of the family, the couple, the man, woman behind the entire business or brand or their lack of brand. And let's expose that. People love that. They relate to it. They can understand it, and a few of those things just really separate you from. That's what really separates you from the competition.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of think, in my mind, summarizing some of that, it's like building the trust, one to one with the business owner, and then understanding from their shoes the empathy, right? Understanding
Mhm.
from their business and kind of how they see the world. I think as marketers, and we're consultants, right, for our clients. I think that's paramount. I think that does make a world of difference. Like building that trust, building the transparency, and having the empathy, understanding where they're coming from with their business. I think, yeah, for sure, that's definitely how I would also base my competing with other companies, either whether it's my own company or with my clients as well. Like you really got to.
Absolutely.
I feel that for sure. Um, so let's shift a little bit again toward your company. So LFG, what makes LFG different? And I think I've probably picked up on a couple items already, but I want you to kind of explain it yourself in your own words. What makes LFG different? How do you build that into your strategy?
I would say what makes LFG different, again, that personalization, that touch in there, me being part of that process, in a world where there's so many cookie cutter results, cookie cutter templates, funnels, levels of automation. I, I I make it custom per client, which is real important. And that kind of piggybacks off of understanding their needs. Again, the problem that they're solving, the solution, value, all those three right there. It's that true customization factor. Now, the cookie cutter stuff did work and it could work. You can increase conversions from 6% to 15%, but do you want to do 6 to 15 or do you want to do 6 to 70? And to do that, the customization behind it. So when their clients or their leads, prospects, whatever, are looking in and seeing that brand, they recognize it, they understand the emotional feeling behind it of, wow, this makes me feel good. And from there, that the conversion process is just natural from there. So I think that the key thing that separates LFG, other than kind of what I do, but the process of how I do it is each each client none of them are cookie cutter from one to the other. Everything's completely custom using the knowledge and experiences that myself and even talking with you, James, and just asking questions to you and learning more education. Marketers are educating themselves every day as well too, but bringing that ultimate value back to them. They feel it, they know it, and they refer it.
Yeah, I agree, and I can definitely think about some of the the points where I've been engaging with potential clients, and I always get asked the question, what kind of marketing do you do, or like how do you like I build teams for my clients, and they're like, how do you do that, or like do you have a group of people you always call on? And I always sound like, nope, it depends. Every Almost every one of my answers is it depends, because it depends on
You sound like a lawyer. It depends.
but that's the thing.
It's
It's like
true.
highly customized because every brand, every business is different. Even if they do the same thing, the way it's done, the execution, right, is different. And it's very, very, very important to bring that to the forefront, the foundation of the strategy, I think. So I definitely, that definitely resonates with me. I like that. I appreciate that as well. I think the audience will too. Um,
Excellent.
Customization is very key. Um, so, talk to us a little bit about the mix of channels that you focus on with your brand, and then we'll kind of move into like what you like to see with your clients. The channels like digital channels, partnerships, influencers, events, anything like that. Talk to us a little bit about the channels you focus on with LFG for your own brand.
Sure. I think digital is a piggyback off of influencer events that I'm starting to grow. PR is big for us now, to break down those walls of know, like, trust. Who is Joe? Who is James? How can I trust them? Maybe I had a great conversation with them and they said everything I wanted to hear and they had a great handshake and we had a number of cocktails, whatever, right? But when you go home and look online, what do they represent? Who have they talked to? What does their work look like? Do I feel comfortable with this? For people who are analytical on their thinking and mindset, going from emotion to logic, ultimately the funnel page, right? But in real life, um, so I think it's portraying the events and what we're doing right here. This is turned into a promotional item that's done digitally, that's shared and shown people great value, right? They see this, they go, okay, these guys are really thinking outside the box. They're asking intriguing questions to each other. I didn't think about it this way, etc. And what does that ultimately do? That goes back to the personal touch to people of these are the questions that people are Googling, right? They're curious of, they don't know. And if you're answering those questions, as opposed to questions that they're not asking, and
Yeah,
shoving it down their throat, they feel like this again resonates with me. So I think it all kind of comes full circle, really. I think partnerships are great. Uh, Again, partnerships defined in multiple different ways, but hey, you and I met, right? We shook hands, we went out, we got coffee. Here we are on another call. What are we going to do after this? Hey, I'm going to promote you to a bunch of other folks who could have them at their round table discussions, and maybe someday we'll end up on some like Oprah show. I don't know, right? But it's the power of the handshake, man, and then just letting it grow from there.
No, I love it. I do. That's yeah, exactly. I love that. So let's touch on a little bit. What channels do you like to focus on with the clients? Is there any kind of difference? Is it the same? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, James, it depends. uh, Again, so B2B, B2C, far different in its methodology, how you're connecting with them. Uh, Geez, the whole psychology behind it. This is marketing is really it's a lot of psychology and its mindset, right? So some clients, LinkedIn, just blasting random posts on LinkedIn doesn't do anything, right? Joining in the groups in LinkedIn, participating, going to those virtual events in LinkedIn, uh, even as simple as you've connected with someone and it's their birthday and you say happy birthday to them, right? It's those little things where, yeah, sure, it's one off. You remove a lot of the automation from it, right? But if you have those components in with LinkedIn, it does great. Instagram, sure, fantastic. Reels are blowing up more than ever. TikTok, depending on if it's e-com stuff, is great for TikTok. Also good for Instagram, but I wouldn't suggest. Oh, let's see. A commercial insurance company to go do a bunch of TikToks, for example. So it goes back to it depends, right? But each of them have a very strong leverage depending on that industry and what they're trying to achieve with that industry. Who who are you trying to connect with? And Gary Vee talks a lot about this right here. We're changing that mindset of Google the demographics of people. It doesn't matter so much in many ways age, race, town, school, this, that. It's what people think, right? The psych background inside of it. There's a word for it. I don't know off the top of my head, but the psychoanalytics, let's say, I may have made that up. I don't know. Inside, what are people inside thinking? And then saying if those people are targeted to like this specific topic or like this right here, then put them in a category to then come purchase your ecom product or who knows, whatever it may be, right? Not just the demographics. So, kind of long-winded answer. Obviously, depends, but taking all those things into accountability of what is the message you're trying to relate? Who are you trying to bring in? Is it brand building? Is it direct marketing? Is it brand marketing? One is um, uh, uh, can be analyzed with true numbers, and the other can't with branding. So, what is the ultimate vision? This is why there's so many questions we ask up front. James, both you and I do the same thing here, versus other agencies that say, "Oh, you want to get a bunch of likes, follows, this, and yada yada on social media? We'll do it." What do you got to understand what they're looking to portray? What is the vision? What is the strategy? What is the message you want people to see, hear, like, trust, remember, all the above? So um,
You
it
know,
depends, but yeah, full circle, right?
no, yeah, I think, yeah, I see that too. I think these are the kinds of questions that um, we need to ask our clients, but they also need to ask themselves. It's what is the message you're trying to convey to who, why, how.
Mhm.
Um, this message relate back to the business objective that you're trying to accomplish. I mean, there's a really big difference between trying to get engagement versus trying to get conversions, for example, or getting traffic versus getting consultations. They're very different. I mean, it's some of them are easier to do than others as well, but I think a lot of business owners screw that up. They think, oh, I need a lot more traffic going to our social media pages. Why? Like, just get your social media built up and all the followers, or do you actually need money? Or, I mean, unless you're trying to build your brand or your social pages to become monetized, because YouTube, Instagram, they have those models where you can be paid for your content. But if that's not what you're trying to do, then why do you pour so much money and focus onto? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Or like if one company wants to build a community that does not align with their main line of business, it doesn't make sense. And I've talked with clients about that kind of stuff too. And it's just, it goes back to asking the right questions, like you've already kind of touched on too. It's like asking these important questions, getting to the roots, and doing the work, you know. Um,
Agreed. Agreed.
so, okay, I've got a question about fans. So, how do you create fans of your brand? How do you create fans of your clients' brands? How do you talk to us a little bit about, you know, your approach to that, or some of the strategies that you use, what you've seen work, stuff like that?
Sure. I think you said the word right there, branding, right? And so many people don't know exactly what branding means. They think, oh, it's a logo, it's recognizing a logo, and et cetera, like that. But when I think of it is, and Seth Godin has a great interview talking about what branding truly is. When when you take, let's say, Marriott properties, if Marriott made a shoe, what would it look like? I have no idea.
Luxurious.
If Right, yeah, I would have no idea, right? If Nike made a hotel, everyone watching would know what to expect when walking into that hotel, what the feel would be like, what the look would be, the whole nine. That is branding. Understanding, if I see this logo, this name, I hear it, I know what that represents. I know who stands with it. I know the type of results I'm going to get from it, etc. So when I think of branding myself, a key piece of it is, one part networking. If I went around in every network event and was dry and stale and barely shook hands, and people would remember that. It's a branding stamp. If I'm bold, vibrant, and just myself and excited to ask questions about them, big smile on my face, firm handshake, we laugh about my business card, etc. Who are you going to remember the next day? This just goes to also to compliment, how many events we've gone to and people say, my business card's digital now. All right. Well, I lose my business cards, etc. My comment back is, you're not going to forget this one. Well, why? After our conversation, you're going to laugh about the logo. You're going to, what does LFG mean? Our conversation, you're going to pair the two together in your mind. And that alone is going to stay stuck versus the default copy handshake. Here's my card. Here's this, etc. Where you're uh, not, you're not, you're just recognized, not so much remembered behind there. So brand building, with myself, clients, what do they remember when they come over? What is the emotional feeling that they had when they came in, when they, during the process of whatever product they have bought, used, in store, virtual, whatever it may be, and then how do they feel when they're using it, or just thinking about it outside of it? What does that emotion provoke? And if it obviously provokes a good one, which is what you're seeking, then that's how you are remembered and not just recognized.
I love that. That's awesome. I think, man, your analogy, of, you know, if Marriott made a shoe or if Nike made a hotel, I'm gonna chew on that one for a minute. You know, other brands came to mind, like
Take
what
it. I stole it from someone else, so it's not mine.
other brands that came to mind, like what if Apple made a hotel? What would it look like? You know what I mean?
you,
Or like
you would know.
you could probably, anyone could probably answer that question, right? And that's the point, as you can, you know, because you know the brand. And it's like, or if Starbucks made a shoe or a hotel, what would it probably look like? What would the materials be like, and the colors and stuff like that, you know? um
Yeah.
Really, really good analogy and concept to think of and relate it to branding. That might be the best way of describing what branding is I've ever heard. Like, like through a question, but like, yeah, I am impressed on that one. I'm going to chew on that for a while.
I've heard as well too. If the logo falls off or is not there, do you still know what it is? Can you still make that immediate connection? And Apple is arguably the best company in the world that's been able to achieve that.
Killing, man. That's, yeah, that's a great one. I think that's great for the audience to think about, you know, their brands. if your logo wasn't there, your name wasn't on it, would they still know it's you? That is what branding is. That's right. And it goes along with the share of mind. I mean, people talk a lot about market share or share of market. It's about the share of mind. And does your brand come to mind when? Is it only when they're in a buying situation, or does it come to mind only when it's seen, or is it just universal, like like Apple is? I mean, they have so many different areas or products that you touch on. It's just really kind of a part of the culture in a way, and that's kind of what we're all striving for, right? If you're not Apple,
Those are the words. I couldn't agree more, James. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Um, we were talking earlier, and I wanted to touch on this. And as we kind of wrap up, you had mentioned education and kind of that niche you were kind of targeting around coaching, community, and courses. Talk to us a little bit about that. What's going on there?
Sure. So we're seeing a big trend now where it's kind of like an X in the market, if you will, of what has universities, colleges, etc., done, and what is are they gaining traction, are they losing traction, and what's happening on the virtual space with digital education. And we're seeing that less people are going to colleges, universities more than ever. It's been trending down month over month, year over year, and at a really strong ramp, not just a ramp, but I mean an exponential ramp. Online virtual education has significantly increased. Now, uh, there are still plenty of uh, career paths where online isn't the answer. If you're going to be a orthopedic surgeon, for example, you can't just watch a YouTube video or join a course, right? However, um, when it comes to marketing is a perfect example, right? There are people, I can name a whole list of the top, really influential gurus that have courses behind this, taking everything they've unpacked and learned over the years, putting it in a multi-module course breakdown that makes it easy to follow, easy to understand, uh, with quizzes, etc., to really learn what's needed there. So there's so many educators out there, whether it be oh, financial wealth or commercial real estate or again marketing or the industry topics go on and on and on. And these experts have thought, okay, I've made a book, I've gone on TV, I've got great PR. What's next? How do I want so many people to learn about what I've been able to create. So it's switching over that seminar, which is seminars do great, into I've created an online course through a funnel where leads come in, they see the value, they know exactly what they're going to get when it comes to after this amount of time period, this many courses, you will learn this, and this, and be able to achieve this, and this. And, the industry opportunities are so wide and vast. And with that growth opportunity happening right now, what I suggest to so many folks out there who've got that knowledge and are trying to capitalize on it is film it, film it, share it, whether it be a course, whether it be a YouTube video, um, capitalizing on what are people, and it sounds dumb a lot of times, but if you talk about what people are searching on Google, if you answer the questions that people have, and you may be like, who's searching this? Well, the people that want could potentially work with you. If here are 3 ways to achieve this, 5 ways to do this 5 times faster than this. You name it. That's your free SEO in essence, right? Talk about that educational aspect. And when they see that education behind it, and well, I've learned something from this person. I maybe didn't know about them before, or I did know about them before. And man, I wish I could just take 5 hours and sit with them and ask questions. Oh, they have a course now online.
Yeah. Yep.
Booms. Sales skyrocket with that stuff, with trades or cosmetology or welding, you name it, right? We're at home a lot now. We're learning a lot. We're digital on the go everywhere we go. We're wireless. The power to have that everywhere is great. Um, and it even goes to, you know, us educating ourselves, right? Reading books used to be, do I have time? Do we have time to sit down and read? Well, Sometimes it depends. If I'm on a jog or if I'm walking somewhere or on a drive, Audible, have someone read it to me, save time. I literally took it from a process of I had to sit down and go word to word to I can listen to it and do two things at once. Um, so all in all, transferring that into the digital world, connecting with people the right way, putting them through the funnel so they see the value, and converting them is so passionate for me. And connecting, James, with people like yourself, and to hear about what the industry is going through, how their company can expand with education to break down that know like trust. Um, Having those courses and education online is so powerful, especially this year.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, that resonates with me tremendously. I mean, I don't know how much of my content you've seen, but that's one of the main pillars of my philosophy with marketing is thought leadership content. Um, that kind of content should be there to educate or maybe even entertain. But yeah, I think that's huge, like massively huge. It's a huge opportunity for brands, new and established, to uh, further position in their market and dominate. Honestly, the ones who do it the best dominate if they're using that kind of content and creating courses or guides or books or what have you, and having the educational piece like this. I mean, it's like hopefully people that are watching are they're going to learn something from this, or maybe it'll spark intrigue, spark a question or a set of questions that they ask, and it leads them wherever it will. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. That kind of content it's invaluable. You can't put a price on it. And I think most companies miss that. Most brands don't have it at all, and they're completely squandering the opportunity. They're not standing out where they could be, and with that kind of content and positioning. So yeah, no, that that's huge. I hope people will write that down. Build thought leadership content.
Yeah, a little sticky note or something to come back to and reference, and hey, just learn more, right? We're you and I are here to answer questions, to talk with companies who are engaged, and to not say you need this specifically, but ultimately to say let's talk about what problem you have, and maybe what you heard on a particular one of these recordings, and how can we help? How can
Yeah,
we help?
for sure. All right, I think that about wraps it up. I think this is an amazing conversation. I'm glad we
Oh, likewise.
thank you so much for giving us your time, giving me your time to chat and kind of pick your brain a little bit. I think this is excellent. I think people will get a lot out of this for sure. You guys can reach out to either one of us for more questions, or if you want to hire Joe or myself, just check us out. We're on the social media. We're on LinkedIn, all that. LFG Business Group, James Saki Marketing. Thank you again. Thank you, Joe. And yeah, man, I look forward to seeing you next time and having some more conversations, buddy.
Thank you so much, man. It has been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure. So I appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time.
Likewise. All right.